Avenue, and then we'll take it higher.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sportscenter rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sportscenter, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar.
Booyah! It's time for the Game Sports Show. You're listening to the Game Sports Show on thegamesportshow.com, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or through the Scott Nason YouTube channel, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. Wishing you a belated Merry Christmas and Happy New Year going into 2019. It's Dave McCaig here live at Sportscenter Bar and Grill, and we're here on December the 27th, 2018, a Thursday. So we're here for a unique time this time, where we're here Wednesday for its famous 75-cent wing nights, but due to Christmas scheduling and due to weddings coming up, a particular wedding, a friend of mine, Jerry Patingle, getting married this weekend, we had to do some schedule changes, so we decided to come here at noon here today to give you the update for the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. And we're going to be sticking to the professional end, talking about the NFL and getting the recap for a big Week 17 in the National Football League. And we'll also try to chime in a little bit of Toronto Raptors talk as well. And I might even give a little bit of opinion towards the World Juniors towards the end of the show. We do plan to have Craig Hartsburg and Brad Kochmelio coming on sometime throughout this break to discuss that more into detail. But it's hockey, and it's a great time of year to talk about that and fit that in when possible. I'm here along with Jamie Antonello at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. I'm going to bring in Jamie in just a few moments. Just going to get through the usual introduction portion of the show. This will be the last show of 2018 in terms of being on location. We may have a little bonus upload with Craig or Brad before New Year's comes up. However, until 2019, this will be the last on-location show. We're going into next week. We do have shows coming back up again, and that is next Wednesday, January the 2nd. We'll be here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill at the usual time at 9 o'clock. Myself, Jamie, and we hope that Justin and Matt can come on by as well. We'll be back at Northern Superior Brewing Company on the 3rd of January, and that will be at 7:15 p.m., and then we'll be at Icebreakers on January the 6th. Now, I hope everyone had a safe and a very Merry Christmas and a safe continued holiday, and definitely the great time of year and some time for people to enjoy some time off work and time with family. You need that family time for sure. Jamie, without further ado, I want to bring you in. Got through the introduction portion there and the agenda of future upcoming shows. You know, it's kind of strange. It's kind of weird not having 4 shows this week. It's having a break, but definitely happy that we're here at SportsCenter here today, my friend.
Yeah, man. Happy holidays as usual, and we've had a busy couple days. I hope everybody else has too, but we had to make time. It's Week 17 for the NFL. We had to make sure we had an in-the-pocket scheduled. Dave and I we made sure to get this scheduled in here at SportsCenter. Still pretty busy for considering December 27th at lunchtime. Yeah, there's still a pretty busy crowd here, enjoying our Molson products as we do. So. Yeah. Happy to talk about the NFL. I mean, there's still lots up for grabs. There's still 3 divisions that haven't been claimed. There's still home. Who knows who's going to be the teams to get a first round bye in the AFC still. Those haven't been settled whatsoever. New England could still end up first overall somehow. There'd be a crazy scenario, but it could still happen. So it's interesting. I'm excited to watch it. I think this is going to be a big week. You never know who's not playing. Really, the only team for sure that we know is going to be resting guys is New Orleans. But the rest of the league, man, they're a lot to play for. Playoff spot, climbing the ladder, going from the 6th to the 5th seed. Chicago especially, they could still have a first-round bye. I know they're playing for that. They have great home field advantage this year, so it's going to be exciting.
NFL this year, as we've said since the beginning, since week 1, hashtag surprising season is the term that I've been using. And tonight here at SportsCenter, Jamie and I are going to talk about Week 16 recap. That's what we're going to jump into right away here. And when we come back from break, Jamie and I will talk about Week 17, and then we'll have our picks for Week 17. And then near the conclusion portion, we'll try to fit in a little Raptors talk and even some World Juniors talk. So just have a quick 45 minutes to an hour show here tonight. As promised, we will try not to go overtime. As you know, we're pretty famous for doing that. So without further ado, I want to say thank you to Scott Nason as well, our board operator tonight. Frank Ligori, who is actually on location. We're here at lunch today. Every time that we're here, he knows we do the show every week. He knows, obviously. listener of the show and a proud sponsor of the show. But we've never been here for a lunchtime edition of the show. And it's the first time that Frank has seen us on location officially in the 4 years that we've been here. So it's a lot of trust for sure that we are here. But definitely thanks to the Sportscenter staff as well. They have great lunchtime food like chicken parm on there. They got the Philly steak. The wings are always signature for sure. The fries, the panzerottis, the list goes on here if you want to enjoy a good lunch, and it's quick service and delicious homemade food. Come on down to enjoy on your lunch or just have a good snack if you do not feel like cooking. I'm not gonna lie, in my fridge right now there's so much food in that fridge, but I'm still ordering food here because you can't turn down any Sportscenter food. So Jamie, let's jump in on topic here and talk about Week 16 in the National Football League. And we're going to get to our Pick'em League, where it's between you and I in the finals for the Pick'em League. And it's going to be a big week. There was no separation with us, really. And we're going to talk about that when we get to that point after our break. But very disappointed week for Week 16. If you are a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, especially Frank Liguori being one and myself being one, we're relying on the Cleveland Browns for our season. I didn't think that would ever be a thing. It's a joke. But I'll when I talk about that's one of the games I'll be talking about, obviously. But I think maybe we should chime in together with that game because also New Orleans this game. But like you said, playoffs aren't really determined yet. Who's getting a bye? Who's won the divisions? Who's playing who? The Steelers still have a chance. If the Ravens lose to the Browns and if they beat the Bengals, you got the one wild card spot with the Chargers already being locked up, right? So you got some certain things that are locked right up. But you also had a shootout. If you want to go to Green Bay and the New York Jets, you know what? You and I were talking about maybe that's going to be a snooze game. I did pick the Jets to win because I need to try to get some extra wins underneath your belt. But the New York Jets held themselves in that football game. It was a gunslinger type matchup, and the Jags, a snoozer fest against the Dolphins, which I think is as expected. Even the Bears playing some good defense against the Niners, go 14-9 over the 49ers. The Falcons beating the Panthers. The Panthers are just defeated, Like they're just there. It seems like they're just they're just done. The Minnesota Vikings, over the Lions, 27-9. The Vikings are still, they want to climb into that playoff spot. They're still playing for some meaningful football. So definitely dangerous team still going into for this week in Week 17. So lots of games we could talk about, Jamie. So I'm going to give the mic over to you to your reaction for Week 16 and talk about a game that you want to talk about. I'll say it right now. Don't bring up Pittsburgh, New Orleans. Yeah, we'll get that towards the end. Definitely another game maybe that you want to bring to the table here on December 27th, lunchtime edition of In the Pocket.
Absolutely, and there's a couple games I want to touch on. I want to start with that Green Bay and Jets game. Back and forth, exciting football. It's what you love. Love football. Sam Darnold really came to his own. He had a great game at home. And you really see why Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers no matter what's around him. He got so hot in the middle of the fourth quarter, and as soon as he got the ball in overtime, you knew it was over. It was it was similar to what happened when New England played Atlanta in the Super Bowl, and they came back, and as soon as you saw New England get the ball in overtime, you knew it was done right away. It was that similar. It's that Hall of Fame quarterback. You know he can't be stopped. No matter what you do, he's gonna outsmart you. He's gonna outdo you. He's gonna check at the line. Yeah. It was fun to watch. I was excited. It was a heck of a game.
442 yards.
442 yards. Wild, eh? Like, unbelievable.
32 yards rushing, too.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Aaron. That's the thing about Aaron is he can take off, man, and he had a big fantasy game. If you had Aaron in your fantasy playoff matchup, like for your first place, good for you. Kansas City, Seattle, another great game. Even though I picked Kansas City last week, you really see that Seattle has kind of retaken their home field advantage. They were struggling early in the year, and they balanced themselves out. Unfortunately for Seattle, they're not going to have a home playoff game whatsoever. They've clinched a playoff spot, whether it's the 5 or the 6 seed. We don't know yet. A lot of football to be played this weekend still, but man, Seattle's a team that could take a little bit of a run here because who knows who they're going to play. If they end up being the 5 seed, it could be that's still up for grabs. Could be either Dallas. Actually, Dallas is pretty much locked into the 4 seed. So if they're the 5, that's pretty much the game. We know that's what it's going to be, 100%. But if Seattle drops to the 6, they're going to either play the Rams or Chicago. And, I mean, can you imagine Seattle going into Chicago? That'd be a heavy-hitting matchup. I'd love watching it. I mean, I still think Chicago's going to get the edge. But if Seattle plays the Rams in the 6-3 game, I'm picking Seattle. Like, really? Sorry. It's a division game for them, too. They're division teammates. It's so hard to beat a team 3 times in a row, and the Rams beat Seattle twice this season by close margins, and I just don't think they can do it again. So that would be my upset for the first round if it were to happen. But before we get into the Pittsburgh-New Orleans game, Baltimore and the Chargers. We saw Baltimore's defense looks good on the road in LA.
You're kidding me, though.
On the road in LA, Baltimore, Lamar Jackson, they got it going. They have a good thing going there, running the ball well. Lamar Jackson not turning the ball over. Limited Phillip Rivers, really shut him down. I think Baltimore, if they get into the playoffs over Pittsburgh.
Tomlin's fired.
Well, yeah, he would be. Tomlin would get canned if Baltimore were to win, I think. But that Baltimore team, you never know. Good defense goes a long way, especially in the first couple rounds of the playoffs. I'm kind of shocked that they beat the Chargers the way they did, like handily shut them down, limiting them to 10 points. But I'll get your reaction on that one, and then we'll jump right into the Steelers versus NOLA game that we really want to talk about.
I'll chime into that. I do have one game that I wanted to bring up before. Just a shout out to Justin Heichel with that game before we talk about the Steelers in New Orleans. But what can I'm getting my freebie. Can I get my freebie right now? What the fuck? like that was the word that I want to use for the Ravens and Chargers. First off, LA. What? I don't get it. I don't get it. Lamar Jackson goes in there 24 yards, touchdown. These guys, Gus Edwards, who's rushing 92 yards. I don't even know who this guy was. If you had Gus Edwards in your fantasy, you only got 9.2 points, but who the hell would play Gus Edwards over anybody else? You got Mark Andrews, who's got 83 yards of touchdown. This team is just all around. You got Michael Crabtree there. You got John Brown. These guys are playing some good, and they acquired Ty Montgomery, who didn't do anything that game, but they got some guys that are just kind of all around, it seems like, Baltimore. That's what this team feels like. And defensively, very good football team. They've always kind of had that defensive kind of impact, right? When they had Ray Lewis when they won the Super Bowl. Right now, and Reed, and when they have right now the best defense in the National Football League, that's what's winning them games, and it gives Lamar Jackson the confidence to go out there in the football that I don't have to be pressured here, that I don't have to hold the ball, or I can gamble with some plays, or I can rush, or he can really be in his own because he knows his defense is going to go out there and most likely shut down the team, and they shut down the Chargers. Rivers only had 181 yards, 2 touchdowns. But when you hold Phillip Rivers under 200 some yards, you had 181, you had 2 TDs, or no touchdowns. Sorry, I'm getting corrected. No touchdowns, 0 INTs. If you have Rivers not throwing any touchdowns, and he only throws 181 yards, and you got Melvin Gordon only rushing under 50 yards, it is, but you're still winning that football game. Okay, it's still a football game that you're going to win when you shut down that rushing, that arm with Phillip Rivers. Despite that, he almost hit 200 yards. He didn't throw any touchdowns, and he threw 2 INTs. The Ravens defense won that football game, and that's fine. That's the way football is played. I can't believe how the Chargers were so shut down. It's like the Ravens took care of them in good fashion. I was impressed. I was. Another team I'm impressed with, the Colts. I got to give a little shout out to the Giants. So 5-10, they were 0-5 or 1-8 or at one point. So they improved the record throughout the year. So they're in my books of being one of the more improved football teams.
I agree, and I was hoping the Giants were going to go on a bit of a run. Unfortunately, at this point now, they've just knocked themselves out of having a really good draft pick at this point. But I mean, it's hopeful for Giants fans. I know a lot of people want Eli out of there, but Saquon looks good, and they got the weapons around, and they got a solid defense. So we'll have to see. They got to get a few more pieces, but they could compete in that division, I think.
Joe Flacco. I know I said maybe Flacco to the Jags. There's a lot of Flacco will not be unemployed by the end of this year when the Ravens get rid of him. But Colts, I got to give a shout out to the Colts. My Steelers can't catch the Colts because they could catch the Colts, but the Colts play Tennessee, so the winner of that game is getting one of the wild card spots. Is what I mean by that. So I wouldn't have said in a million years the Indianapolis Colts are going to be better than the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, but this team is for real. Andrew Luck is an absolute weapon. Marlon Mack, I'm a fan. He didn't have he had a touchdown, but he only had 34 yards last game. But T.Y. Hilton is the guy that I want to say comeback player of the year. He had a great year, T.Y. did. And him and Andrew Luck have found that chemistry that, and I'm a big fan of Eric Ebron. That guy's had a great year, one of the best tight end statistics this year, I think, in the National Football League, and he made the Pro Bowl. So, Eric Ebron, sorry, Lions fans, but, I've always been a fan. The former first-round pick of the Lions has the size, he has tight end size. always had that potential to be a good tight end. Now, he's not going to be a Rob Gronkowski. He might not even be a Travis Kelce by any means. But you know what? This guy's going to be an effective tight end, and Andrew Luck has found his weapon in the goal, in the end zone. So I really think the Indianapolis Colts are the team that's going to go forward. Kind of a little spoiler alert. They're hot. They're so hot. I think they were 500. I think almost they've 6-6. So they've won 3 in a row. But even this year, I think when they started the season, weren't they? I think they were like 1-3, or they weren't as hot. But anyways, it doesn't even matter. Point of my story is this was an exciting football game though between the Colts and Giants. They 28-27. The Giants had a hard-fought game. The Giants came on hot in that first quarter. And then when I was watching on my NFL Network on the box, the Colts took over the fourth quarter. Okay, and near the end of the third quarter, near the end from the third quarter to the fourth quarter, it was all Indianapolis Colts. And then they played that full game that the Giants weren't able to keep up with, and Andrew Luck was just hawking that football. Okay, almost threw 400 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ty was just running routes, getting open, fine open, and even Chester Rogers had a good game for the Indianapolis Colts as well with a touchdown. So they're really passing the ball around between Inman, Pascal, Hines getting 41 yards, Eric Ebron, all these guys getting all this kind of credentials. And with the Colts having this success, they will probably get into the playoffs, in my total opinion. Now, Jamie, I'll get started with the Pittsburgh Steelers in New Orleans, though. That wasn't a stretch. That wasn't a yawn. That was huge exasperation. And that's me sitting here squeezing my computer laptop, staring at my delicious food, by the way, that came out from Sportscenter, the chicken parm that just came out for Jamie and I. The Steelers lost. The Steelers lost. So I try to say it without tearing up. In a very good football game. Okay, people say this was a game they were expected to lose. Okay, fuck off. It doesn't really matter if they were expected to lose. The Steelers lost in a way that the Steelers would only lose, it seems like. 31-28, and it dropped to 8-6. Roethlisberger had a good football game, man. The fumble, and Jalen Samuels, that running game, I tell you, if Bell or even Connor was there, I think the whole game's different. Still, I think the whole game's different, but Antonio Brown stepped up. Juju Smith-Schuster, 115 yards. Even Thanos McDonald got 50 yards. I'm not blaming. It was a good 3.5 quarters. I know it's not a exact 3.5 quarters of good football for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just that one play, and you can't make those mistakes. You cannot make those mistakes against a team like the New Orleans Saints. And it's just been like that all year. Drew Brees is, Jesus Christ, guy's a fucking stud. They shut down the running game, did the Steelers. You had Ingram and Kamara only combined had not even 70 yards between the two of them, but 3 touchdowns. Okay, so that's where that really flashes out. It's just that throughout the game they're able to shut that down, but they can't shut them down in the areas of right into the end zone. So the one thing that really sticks out to me for the New Orleans offense is Kamara, big catches on the receiving end. And then Michael Thomas, 109 yards. Ted Ginn, 74 yards. That's where Steelers had the trouble. I don't think it's the rushing part of the football, unless they're on the goal line. I think the biggest issue this year was the defensive end on receivers. I think they had a lot of issues with receivers this year. And also, the drama with Le'Veon Bell was just an issue the entire season. So when you go through a team that was as successful as Pittsburgh was, they've lost the last couple games in a row, and they've cemented themselves where they belong right now. And this game was an exciting football game. But New Orleans, they were able to capitalize, and good teams find ways to win, and New Orleans found that way to win. Jamie, I want your whole reaction with it. I don't want to talk about what happened, the fumble. I can't even barely say fumble. I was watching it, my friend. My TV is still in good standing.
You made it.
I feel bad for the glass that I smashed on the ground. But besides that, Jamie, Pittsburgh, New Orleans.
Oh, forgive me. Still finishing my chicken parm there. A little early. But, man, I mean, unfortunately for Stephen Ridley, what's his rap now? He's the guy that fumbles. I think that's it for him.
I think that's it.
I honestly do. That was his rap in New England. Very talented back. and he kind of got a shot as a backup, got a shot to really play a lot more with Connor going down. And, man, that was a heartbreaker. You really feel for – I mean, New Orleans played a solid game, back and forth, but that's what happens when you have a matchup of two really good teams, is if you make one mistake in crunch time, that's what can happen. And, I mean, AB was huge. He had 14 catches, 2 touchdowns.
Wild game.
And uncoverable almost. And but that kind of worked because Juju didn't do much all game. We were able to really focus. Like, AB made the big plays, and New Orleans kept it close. I mean, when they got a short field, they took advantage. They punched it in. And then Drew was able to make it happen to Michael Thomas right at the end there. And, I mean, it was a really close touchdown. Like, he was coming back to the football, just crossed the plane on replay. Initially called down at the half-yard line, and then they went to replay and fixed it. But it's just, you can't fumble at that point in the game. It's crucial. You got to know, like, okay, it's better to not get a gain and hold on to the ball than it is to fumble it away and give them a short field. That's all it is. And
What's the time on that again?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly when the fumble was, but
a couple minutes.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 minutes left, something like that. And New Orleans ate up a bunch of that clock.
Yeah, they did.
Scored with a minute and a half left, and then Pittsburgh couldn't get into field goal range. It's when you're in that point and you know you have to pass to get first downs and timeouts are limited, it's a tough situation. And for New Orleans, they had a lot to play for. That was to secure the first round seed. Now they have essentially 2 byes. You could think about it like this. They're going to rest some guys. I think they're going to leave Drew in to cross the 4,000-yard passing threshold. Yeah, I think he's only like 8 yards away right now. So they'll let him cross that. They'll give Alvin and Ingram some touches, and then they'll let Teddy Bridgewater probably play 3/4 of this game, I think, upcoming next week. But, man, for Pittsburgh, that's a tough one. That's a heartbreaker. You could almost have not guaranteed your standing as the 4 seed, but really would have helped yourself out here. Now you're counting on Cleveland. And I love seeing people with the Antonio Brown jerseys adding the S to it to cheer for the Browns this week. So
That's fine.
those are great. Antonio Brown even shared a couple of them, which was pretty funny. They're all in. I mean, it's similar. Like, we could see it. Last year was the same thing with the Buffalo Bills. They needed Cincinnati to win for them to get in the playoffs. Pittsburgh needs Cleveland to win for them to get in this week. So
it's not impossible.
It's not impossible at all. It's not.
Like,
Baker's playing great. That's
for.
that number 1 defense, though. It's tough. I think Baltimore's going to be a real tough opponent, but that's why I love Week 17 football, when there's lots up for grabs.
You know, I didn't want to talk about the touchdown or the fumble.
Sorry.
Kind of hard to it, and being a sports guy, you have to talk about things maybe you don't want to talk about when your favorite team loses. And I was saying to you, Jamie, that all my years of watching football, I've seen them defeat Seattle in the Super Bowl. I've seen them defeat Arizona, and that was one of the best football Super Bowls I've watched. That was fantastic. And I have never seen Pittsburgh not get into the playoffs.
Oh, wow.
So it's a change, but I'm not saying they're not. They still have a chance. Okay, I'm not saying that, but am my spirits a little bit depleted? Yes, not because Baltimore's playing the Browns. The Browns are a good football team. I have no problem with the Browns. Ravens are. I'm just kind of don't want to get my hopes up, but also Baltimore they're unstoppable right now. This team, Lamar, has a lot of confidence. The defense is hot, as you said. In Cleveland, though, it depends if you like Pittsburgh or Baltimore more. And I hope they like Pittsburgh more. We did get you a tie this year. Okay, come on now. think of us. Don't be selfish. But besides that, what I want to say is this goes into my point that Pittsburgh this year offensively have a juggernaut, Jamie. And this could be a very good football team that doesn't make the playoffs, which is not, it's not something that you don't see every day. It's something that you do see in certain sports, but this team should be in the playoffs. The team that they have, and when they don't make the playoffs, you look and you evaluate as management what the fuck went wrong. This year, play calls, and also the defense was very necessarily not reliable still, in my opinion, but Watt had a great year. There's some guys that had good years. Ben Roethlisberger, was up and down throughout the year, but again, he's still Big Ben. He still got the job done. Antonio Brown is despite they didn't have huge numbers at the beginning of the year, like throughout the year, it's Antonio Brown. Yeah. So, I really can't explain to you. It's just when they play against teams that are less than them in terms of record, I mean, they play down. And they're the most obvious team to do that. So they have to try to get the momentum up, or there has to be a leadership standpoint there that isn't there. And I'm starting to point the finger at Tomlin. I've always been a big fan of Mike Tomlin. I think he's... Listen, I've always even said that I thought he was one of the best coaches in the league. But I think it's time for a change. If they don't make the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, I think he buys himself one more year to try to change things around. But I really think that it's time for a change in Steel Town when it comes to the coaching. I think if you get a more elderly coach to keep those guys at bay and keep them prepared for those games that they should be winning, and also just to kind of balance out the locker room. And who knows what's going to happen with Big Ben if he retires at the end of this year. Apparently he's thought about that for the last couple of years, so maybe this is the year he does it. So definitely going to be interesting if what happens coming up this week. And getting into this week coming up, Jamie, we're going to talk about that very shortly. I just want to get your final thoughts about Week 16 and overall game of the week from Week 16. What was your game of the week?
Well, I think putting Pittsburgh-New Orleans aside, I think because both of us could very easily pick that game as our game of the week.
Yeah.
Man, I think... I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but I think the other two games of the week, like Kansas City, Seattle was a great game, and then Green Bay, New York. I think those were the highest scoring. You could also make an argument for Baltimore, LA, just with the dominance that Baltimore's defense showed. But I mean, that's not what gets ratings really in this day and age. You want to see points. You want to see exciting back and forth football. You want excitement. I mean, Houston, Philly was another good one. There was a lot of close games. Indy, the Giants. But I got to go with Green Bay, New York. Anytime it goes into overtime and you see a quarterback playing that hot, that's the stuff you love. Aaron Rodgers is the man. He's a Hall of Famer. And they got to put pieces around him again. You got to get Green Bay back to the playoffs. But yeah, that would be my pick for game of the week.
I agree with the game of the week between New York and Green Bay. However, I kind of want to go to the route of Philly and Houston.
Good game.
Very tight game, good game. I thought Houston was going to win that game from what I believe in our picks, or did I not? I don't even remember now what I picked. But anyways, very exciting football game. They're thick and through, so I'm going to have to go with that game being the game of the week. Now, Jamie, last thing for sure before we go to break, Detroit and Minnesota. Detroit loses and go to 5-10. Let's talk the offseason here for Detroit, because that's what they're thinking. They're thinking draft. They're thinking offseason. They're trying to salvage, try to get this going with after a little bad year. I don't think people should have expected them to be in the playoffs this year. I don't know if they were really a playoff team, but having Patricia at the helm, big improvements for this organization. And going into the summer, I think they can do a lot of additions. We've said it here on the show before. We got Le'Veon Bell, who's open on free agency. They got Josh Gordon, who, if he doesn't re-sign over New England, if that's a good player you want to bring in. There's changes that you can make on this team and improvements. If you're a Lions GM and you're going to sign people, who are you looking at? What are you looking at? And thirdly, is Matt Stafford still your guy? You think they can get it done?
I think Matt Stafford's still your guy. I think you stick with him. I mean, you just paid the man. I think the big thing for Matt Patricia is he's going to try and take a little bit more of a hands-on approach to the front office, a lot like Bill Belichick. Like, there's a general manager in New England, but everybody knows who does all the picks there. And I think Patricia is going to try and do the same. You knew Detroit, this was going to be a rebuilding year, and anything basically above 6 wins, I think, would be considered a huge success. Like the 4-7 window, I think, was really what was expected. Fourth in the division was not a shock, I think, to anybody in Detroit. It's tough when you get a brand new coach. He comes in, you got to set the tempo, set the culture, and it's a big change. And I think you have an elite quarterback. I mean, yes, I called Matt Stafford elite. He's a solid guy. He's one of those top 15 guys in the league. He's a stalwart. He's a true pro. He's proven it. Whether or not he can win in the playoffs and win in December, he still hasn't shown that. But you put a good defense in front of mediocre QBs or rookie QBs even. Like, look at Lamar Jackson in Baltimore right now. That goes a long way. Detroit found a running game this year a little bit. I think they got to bring in one big free agent on offense and maybe sign a guy on defense. I'm not sure, but I think they're looking more into drafting and getting guys in the door. But it's.
You don't look at Le'Veon Bell or Josh Gordon?
I think they could. Yeah, I don't think they'll go near Josh Gordon. I don't think they do. I think they avoid him. I think Le'Veon's a guy they could look at. They have the money to do it, but it'd be really tight. They'd really limit themselves. I think they may look for one splash free agent guy on defense, like a veteran dude that's in his last couple years. Like, because look at when Bill Belichick took over New England. When they started going on that run, the guy they signed was Rodney Harrison. It's a guy who was 10 years into the league, a true pro on defense. He could run that back end, and he ended up being there for when they won in 03 and 04. So I think that's something that Detroit can look for, where they're trying to go with the path of that. So the one thing Detroit has going for him is that Bill Belichick didn't in New England was a rookie Tom Brady you didn't know what was going to get out of him early in the league. Matt Stafford's a proven guy. He's 10 years in the league now. He's a veteran presence there now. So that's the one bonus I think they have over what the 2000 New England Patriots had. So not to compare them, I mean, that's high praise, but anytime you get an assistant that was a long-time guy in New England, he's going to bring that with him. So I'm hopeful for Detroit. I think Minnesota's on the way out a little bit in that division upcoming. Green Bay's always going to be good just from Aaron Rodgers. And I think Chicago is set, man. I mean, if they can hang on to a couple of those pieces and that offense can get going, they're going to be tough. So
Tough division.
I think second place is not out of reach next year for Detroit. They got to do some work. They got to have some bounces. They got to win their division. If they can beat Chicago once and go 4-2 in the division, maybe split it with Green Bay, split with Chicago, and then sweep Mini, that would go a long way for them. So I'm hopeful. I mean, Lions fans, there's lots to be excited about in the future. I think we'll see a lot more once free agency opens and who they get in the draft. Look from round 3 to 7 to see who Detroit gets, because those are I guarantee 2 of those names are going to show up a lot and be hopefully long-time Lions that are going to be contributors on the defensive side of the ball, I'm guessing.
They kind of put themselves in the same place that New York put themselves in, though, for a draft pick. You know, they're not going to have too high of a draft pick. But are they going to be active in a trade? I don't know. I know Scotty Nason and Butch Davis, you know, I know they get pretty fed up talking about the Detroit Lions and the hopefulness and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you got Matt Patricia at the helm there. I'm a firm believer of that guy. I think the guy's going to get the job done there, and he's young-ish for coaching standards. He's still young in general, but you know, for coaching standards even. So there's a guy that's going to be dedicated to your organization. Lions fans, please respect the time. It's worth the wait. I can tell you from a Leaf fan, it's worth the wait. Ask the Philadelphia 76ers fans, it's worth the frickin' wait. Don't ask Oilers fans, though. I know we're getting into hockey, but don't ask them. Don't even ask, really, Cleveland Brown fans until this year. They had a long time coming to this year, so hopefully that never happens to you guys. But at the end of the day, time will be in your favor, especially with the guy you have the helm right now with Matt Patricia. So I want to give a little love to the Detroit Lions, a little gravy for them, for our Michigan listeners, for the Game Sports Show here live at Sportscenter Bar and Grill, a special holiday edition between myself and Jamie Antonello. Jamie and I are going to take a quick break. We're going to have some drinks, some food. We're going to come back. We're going to talk Week 17 predictions. And then we're going to wrap up with some Raptors talk and some World Junior talk as well. And if we also have time, must remember, Jamie, must pass over maybe a little reaction or a little discussion for NCAA football. You know, we did nothing. I know the games are this weekend coming up. I predicted Notre Dame and Alabama. You did as well. Notre Dame coming on top. You picked Alabama to come on top. Maybe we can chime about that quickly if we have the time. We're going to listen to messages from our sponsors. We'll come back. More in the pocket here on the Game Sports Show.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sportscenter rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sportscenter, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and special edition home to the game, Silver Creek Golf Course, located on 104 Bellow Lake Road, Garden River, Ontario. And also shout out thank you to Silver Creek GM Jamie Henderson. Silver Creek Golf Course has many specials to offer for 18 holes, 9 holes, and even Twilight Deal specials. It does not matter what your level of golf game is, it is a must to enjoy the scenic course, memorable experiences that Silver Golf Course offers. Silver Creek also offers a Thursday wing night for you to enjoy food after a stellar time on the course. You can book your tee time by phone or online at golfsilvercreek.com. Silver Creek Golf Course, where all are welcome to play.
The Game Sports Show is pleased to shout out a partner, additional home, and sponsor to Northern Superior Brewing Company, located on 50 Pym Street in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Northern Superior Brewing Company having a strong presence locally with many beers to offer. With much involvement in the community of Sault Ste. Marie, Northern has a sport and friendly-like atmosphere within its tap room, and during the summer months, it is a must to visit Pier 55 to enjoy some delicious delicious food, amazing view of the water, and view of the Bush Pulling Museum right on the cusp of the Hub Trail, and of course, all of that down with a delicious brew from Northern Superior. Northern Superior Brewing Company. It's a northern thing.
Get Wicked Catering from the crew at the Wicked Sister.
We like to think of ourselves as foodies. While our favorite foods are paired with a beer tasting at the Wicked Sister, you can now have the same creative menu for your next catered business luncheon, family get-together, wedding, or holiday party. Our white truffle risotto appeals to your gluten-free and vegetarian guests. Add sautéed shrimp or freshly grilled chicken for a pop of protein. Or let us build you a custom menu to suit your needs. From plated events of 15 to buffets for 200, the Wicked Sister will cater your event with tapas, snacks, cravables, or a full sit-down dinner.
The Wicked Sister, where you'll be treated like family, whether you like it or not.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank a list of additional sponsors. North Shore Sports and Auto, new location located on 647 McDonald Avenue, Sault Ste. Marie. A family-owned and operated business with doing business in Sault Ste. Marie for over 10 years. Loads of products available for your enjoyment for all seasons. North Shore Sports and Auto, we understand the importance of quality service and products, and we work hard to ensure that all customers have a positive experience before and after each and every sale. North Shore Sports and Auto, meeting all of your new and pre-owned equipment needs. Special thanks to Salon. The Salon, located on 589 2nd Line East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Mike Cuglietta. Book your appointment today at 705-941-9191 or via online at https://thesalonsioux.as.me-. The Salon, making the Sioux beautiful, one haircut at a time. As well as a shout out to the Superior Pro Shop. The Superior Pro Shop, located inside the Community First Credit Union Superior Arena on 285 Northern Avenue East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Jeremy Paquin and ran by Larry Monroe. Superior Pro Shop, for over 40 years, meet all of your skate sharpening, skate repair, and hockey needs. Also to Discover the Canvas. Discover the Canvas, located on 317 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. A beautiful, new renovated building owned and operated by expert artist and Sioux native Katrina Thibodeau. Katrina taking her talents of the ink in Sault Ste. Marie and truly creating the best and most realistic art locally. Call Katrina today at 705-450-8099 or email her at discoverthecanvas@gmail.com to book your tattoo or consultation today.
Hi, this is Paul Maurice from the Winnipeg Jets, and you're listening to the Game Sports Show.
Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. You're listening to the Game Sports Show on thegamesportshow.com, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or on the Scott Nason YouTube channel. You may have also been directed here through our Facebook page at the Game Sports Show or through our Instagram page at the Game Sports Show SSM. Either way, we're very happy that you're making us a part of your day here today for a holiday edition of the Game Sports Show with our In the Pocket segment at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. David McCaig alongside Jamie Antonello, and we're talking In the Pocket here on the Game Sports Show. We just talked about Week 16. So Jamie and I are going to talk about Week 17, because after 16 comes 17. After Week 17 comes playoffs. And this is a big week in the National Football League, and that goes without saying. Big, big fucking week. Especially if you're a Steeler fan, Viking fan, Colt, Tennessee fan. Just a big week all around. Eagles. Definitely a big week all around. If you're a Chargers fan, a Chiefs fan, a Rams fan, Saints fan, Patriots fan, you may have a little easier coast. You can relax this week, watch a game, but maybe you want to look around different games this week just to kind of see who you're playing or see what's going on. But not Steeler fans or any other teams I said a bit before that. Jamie, you and I had our known Blake Winter Pick'em Trophy. You and I are the final two here with our records. Went into last week 137, 87 was me, 144 and 80. So I'm 7 games behind you after taking a couple weeks off, I'd like to say, in terms of my record. Week 16, you and I both went 11 and 5, which does not help me whatsoever. And we split on our different picks, where I actually thought I was going to overcome and come closer to you. So record's now 148-93 for me, 155 and 85 for you. You've basically clinched that you're going to have a under 100 loss season, unless you go 0 for this week, which I highly doubt, which is impressive. I'm 7 games away from a 100 loss season, so I'm trying to keep under that. So this week, I need to try to at least tie you, because people are curious about what a tiebreaker would be. That means we would just continue it into the playoffs for the first week of the playoffs until we no longer have the same record. That's all we're going to do for that. But Week 17, Jamie, you and I have a feeling to have different picks all around. I think it's going to be a very exciting week. And if you're doing Pro Line this week, you're in for a tough week. And if you listen to me and Jamie and even through Matt throughout the entirety of the year, you might have a good Pro Line. You might have some extra money in the bank account, which you're welcome. But Week 17, big playoff implications this week, Jamie. And let's get it all started here by saying what teams we are going to pick. And let's start with the Bills and Dolphins. Jesus. Like, here's one of the games you're going to find it very hard to pick. Maybe. Buffalo's at home. Are they due for a win? Do they have some injuries? Miami. I need to gamble here. And I feel like I'm going to gamble. And I'm going to go first because I'm under the pressure, Jamie, of being behind you. So I'm going to say the Bills are going to defeat the Dolphins this week. One, because of a gut feeling in general. Two, the Bills are at home. And also, just because I think they want to go out with the season with a bang. Just to have such a shit year if you're a Buffalo fan. They're going to get a little optimism trying to get a win here. But, Jamie, I have a feeling you have a different pick.
I don't, actually. I'm going with Buffalo.
Okay.
I think just at home, regular season finale, you never know. I mean, it's a division game. Anything could happen. It's kind of a toss-up. Neither team's making the playoffs. They've both been mathematically eliminated now. So I'm going to go with Buffalo at home.
Really?
Yeah. Shocking, I know. But, yeah, going with the Bills at home. I think just the home field advantage. It'll be cold. I think they're used to it a little bit more than Miami. That's all I'm calling. I don't know if McCoy's in or not, but we'll see.
I don't think he'll be playing, to be totally honest with you. But Lions-Packers, next game. Again, let's go on a high note here. I'm going Lions. I'm giving you guys a little bit more love here. I'm gambling. I'm just full of gambling today. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to come out with an absolute great football game. And I have a feeling that he is just going to throw 400 yards deep down. But something about the Lions. And on a positive note, we were talking highly about them. I'm going to give them some love. Lions.
I'm going opposite. I'm going Green Bay at home. I think Aaron's going to keep his hot streak going, especially at home to end the season.
Yeah.
I think he's got something to play for here. They want to go into the offseason on a positive note. They'll be a middle of the pack draft team anyways, so I think Green Bay gets the win here.
I knew you were going to go with that. Jets, Patriots. Dare I? Dare I do it? I'm doing it. Screw it. If you're betting, please pick the Patriots if you're a pro liner. Okay, if you need to get money. So you know where my mind's at, but I'm going to continue with my gut feeling here. I'm going to say Jets. And the reason I'm going to go to the Jets, Sam Darnold had a big week last week. I think he carries that momentum. I think he keeps throwing the football. He has a little bit of confidence. They go into Gillette Stadium, end the season on a high note, and put the Patriots down to level because they don't deserve to get first overall this year. That's my little saying. And sticking with Justin Heiko with that as well. Justin, I know, wouldn't pick the Patriots here, so obviously he's picked the Colts right this year a little bit, so I'm kind of picking that pick for Justin. I'm picking the New York Jets to beat the New England Patriots this week. I can't even say it with a straight face. But, Jamie.
Well, I'll say this. If you're going to pick the Jets, bet big because they're 13.5-point underdogs right now, so you'll get a good payday if they get the win. I got to go with New England because the number one seed is still open in the AFC. They don't have a guaranteed first-round bye yet. They've locked up the division, but that's it. They could still drop as far as the 3 seed.
Love it.
So they're sitting in the 2 right now, but, I mean, stranger things have happened. They have the head-to-head over Kansas City. That's a big thing for them. So they would be able to leapfrog them and potentially be the 1 seed, which would be huge. Path goes through New England. That's what they always want. So got to go with the Patriots here.
Yeah, you most definitely you're a betting man, sure. But why not be a gambling man this week? Not showing my sports expertness today, boys and girls. Carolina, New Orleans. New Orleans is playing Teddy Bridgewater for some of the game. Cam Newton shut down. I kind of wanted to go Carolina, but I'm not going to be that foolish today. I'm going to go with New Orleans Saints. I'm going to say even Teddy Bridgewater comes in and has a good performance out there, even when he comes in for Drew. They're going to rest some guys, but even their secondary guys with New Orleans, it's a good football team all around. So I got to go New Orleans defeating Carolina here.
Yeah, I'm going with the Saints as well. Not a shocker there. Despite the fact that they're going to sit some guys, I think they're deep enough. And being at home with Carolina, a depleted team, the difference in this game could be Carolina's defense. Yeah. But I got to go with the Saints. I think Teddy's going to get some quality reps. I think they're still going to use Taysom Hill a lot. going to really limit what Ingram and Kamara can do, and Michael Thomas probably won't see very much action. But a couple guys will be shut down on defense as well, I'm sure. But still got to go with New Orleans at home. And they're going to be able to rest a lot of guys, have the bye, and then home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Who dat?
Saints bandwagon jumper. What? Did I say it too loud? Damn it. Houston Texans, Jacksonville Jaguars. Texans, good football game last week against Philadelphia. And the season on a high note. They've had a good year. Houston does take a week off. I don't think Deshaun will get a lot of rest in this game. I feel like they're going to play their guys fully in this game. I kind of get that mentality with Houston. I don't, even with J.J. Watt, that guy's not going to want to take any reps off. So I'm going to say that they're going to kick their guys in the lineup for the entirety of the football game, at least to the 5-minute mark of the fourth quarter when they're up by one or two touchdowns. Going to Houston.
Yeah, no, absolutely Houston. They need to win this game to clinch the division.
Yeah.
Indy and Tennessee are right at their heels, and they could potentially drop down to a wild card spot. It'd be a crazy scenario, but it could happen. So going with the Texans at home. I think Jacksonville's going to be looking to play spoiler, but I think Houston's just too hot, man. I mean, and they're going to be rolling after the loss to Philly last week. Philly's arguably the hottest team in the league right now, though. So I don't think they should feel too bad about that loss. It was a shootout, but I think Deshaun has a big game, and they rebound and win handily over Jacksonville to end the season.
Division, they want that division for sure. New York Giants, Cowboys. I can tell you right now, the Giants are going to end the season on the high note. They've been one of the better teams in football in the past. Arguably the last 6 weeks. They did battle back after a horrendous start to the season of 1-7. I'm going to go with the New York Giants to defeat the Dallas Cowboys on home field, end the season on a high note. And also, just because Eli Manning, his last game as a Giant, he's going to get that stock high. He wants to sign somewhere. Jamie.
Yeah, this is a curious one for me here. So, the Giants are big favorites because I think Dallas can't really move in the playoffs here. They're locked into the 4 seed going into this game. I'm going to pick Dallas on the road in a close one. I just think they're still going to play their guys. I mean, I just think because all their superstars are young, right? So they're not going to – I think they're going to be itching to play. They don't want to have – it's that rest versus rust thing. Sometimes when you're a new pro, you still don't really know how to conserve your energy and stay focused. And
I still don't.
It's a tough one. Exactly. So I got to go with Dallas. I'm not super confident about this one, though. I think the Giants could play spoiler here. But, I'm going to stick with the Cowboys.
That's definitely my spoiler of the week. To be totally honest with you, I think that even though Dallas can't move, that's why I don't really consider it a spoiler. I kind of think Cleveland's my spoiler this week, if I had to say. But, again, definitely Giants. Impressed by the way they ended their season and battled back. Falcons, Buccaneers. Jamie, your former squad against Dane Hantro's current squad. Dane Hantro, if you all don't know him, he's a member of the Game Sports Show on Thursdays and also some Sundays if he's not lazy. Atlanta, Tampa. I'm going to go Tampa, Jamie. And I'm going to go Tampa because, you know what, they had a good offensive showing last week. Mike Evans did pretty good last week if you had him in fantasy. About this home field this week, and Atlanta is having a year that I feel bad for Matty Ryan. Guys had a good statistic season. If his team just having injuries came in that really hurt the team, and to end the year, you know what, they're still a little depleted. A little upset they didn't make the playoffs. Tampa still has something to play for, in my opinion, in terms of home field. Also, they want to end the season on a high note and show that they got it. And also because maybe that they know some people have them in fantasy football if people are still playing in any sort of weeks or playoff finals or anything of such. So they want to get the statistics up. I'm going Tampa, Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to go with Tampa as well, just based on how they played Dallas last week. Really, they're a defensive touchdown away from tying that game and sending it to overtime in a real tight one. So anytime you play a playoff team, I mean, Dallas has been a bit inconsistent, but overall they're a pretty steady team. They've been solid all season. So I think Tampa at home, I think they're playing for pride 100%. But this is one of the tightest money lines of the week, only 1 point favorites to Atlanta on the road. But, yeah, I don't know. You never know with Tampa, man. It's time of year. It could be rainy outside in Florida there. So it's interesting. I think Atlanta they're a dome team. They're not quite used to the elements. I mean, they do have to go to Tampa every year, but not always a rain game there. So I'm going to go with the Bucs.
Raiders, Chiefs. I see the Chiefs are going to win this football game, and they're going to have all their weapons firing on all cylinders. So easily, Kansas City.
Yeah, not much for me to add there. Kansas City, they're playing for the 1 seed. They want home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. They have to win. They're huge favorites at home. Oakland's trying to play spoiler 100% because they could potentially knock Kansas City down to the 5 seed if they win. So got to go with Kansas City here, though. They have to get it together. I've been saying that for the last 3 weeks, that if they get one more win, they're basically locked into the 1 seed, and they haven't been able to do it. They keep losing to good teams and playoff teams, but Oakland is not a playoff team. Kansas City's going to smash them.
You and I have 3 different picks. I need 4. And we only have 2, 4, 6, 8 games left. So you can imagine how my picks are going to go here in the final picks. And we're talking about the Blake Winter Pick'em Trophy here on the Game Sports Show. But I will say, if I go with an unorthodox picks, I'll tell you what my mind actually thinks. Arizona, Seattle. Seattle has something to play for. They've clinched. Sorry, they've clinched. Seattle's clinched. So, but they still, it's still the National Football League, and you want to make sure you get some good reps in there. And Seattle's been hot. Cardinals have been absolutely shit this year. But I'm going the shit route. This is a game of going the shit route. I'm going with Arizona. Seattle locked in. Some guys get rested. Arizona's going to try and finish on a higher note. And just because they're going to want to hurt themselves because they don't want to have as good as a draft position. Arizona gets the win on the road against Seattle. If you're betting pro line, pick Seattle. But if you were a gambler like me, pick Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you added an asterisk to your pick there, but I mean, I just went over talking about how much Seattle has battled to get their home field advantage back, and this is for them to clinch the 5 seed because they would much rather go on the road and play Dallas than they would have to go to Chicago or potentially go to the Rams. Yeah. So that's what they're playing for. They're trying to lock in that 5 seed, and they're also trying to get themselves to a 10-win season. So I'm going with Seattle hands down.
Very good pick, Jamie. Very good pick. Very logical pick. 49ers, Rams. I'm not going to be foolish here. But if the 49ers had Jimmy Garoppolo, I would have picked the 49ers in this game because of it being the last game of the year. But they don't. Rams.
Yeah, Rams, hands down here at home. Division game, I think San Fran could play spoiler here, but they're not. The Rams are trying to get lock in that 2 seed. Behind New Orleans and have a first-round bye. That'd be huge for them. They're banged up. Gurley's injured. They really need that rest, and I think they're going to be bad. They're going to pull out all the stops for it.
Chargers, Broncos. I'm going to say to you right now that Chargers are extremely embarrassed by the game against the Ravens, which they should be. Melvin Gordon's actually going to probably play a full game here, and they're also playing for the division. Kansas City loses, they win, they get the division. Yeah. I got to pick LA over Denver.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go Denver there for a minute, trying to catch me in the Pick'em Trophy, but your brain won out over your heart there. I'm going with LA as well. Wildly enough, the first they could jump from the 5 to the 1 seed in the AFC picture, playoff picture, with a win and a couple of key losses, but they got to win. To try and get to that point. Otherwise, they're going to be a real dangerous wildcard team, regardless of where they have to go. So I'm going with the Chargers here. Not even close.
Bears, Vikings. Now, here's a pick that you might not agree with. Again, Bears have already completed where they want to go, but they're still playing for that bye position and all that. So there's something to play for them for sure. But I'm going to go Minnesota because Minnesota has something to play for. At home. Great playoff last year after a huge win against the New Orleans Saints last year. One of the best football games I've been able to watch in terms of endings. I'm saying Minnesota over Chicago.
I'm going opposite. I got to go with Chicago here. I mean, they're for the sole reason that they could potentially climb, basically guarantee themselves the 3 seed, and potentially climb to the 2 seed with a loss from LA because they have the head-to-head versus them. So Chicago's a dangerous place right now. They have one of the best home field advantages at the moment this season, despite the fact that they're underdogs on the road, which is absurd to me, even though it's in Minnesota and it's a division game. But that 425 hours, there's a lot of action that could happen. Pittsburgh, Cincy play, Philly, Washington. the Chargers are playing, and the Rams are playing along with Chicago. So there's a lot that's going to happen there. And Kansas City, sorry. There's a ton of games. Oh, and the Cleveland-Baltimore game. Wow. That witching hour in the middle of the afternoon. Whew. A lot going on.
Lots going on.
But I got to go with Chicago.
Browns, Ravens. I'm going Browns, please. Baker Mayfield. I've been talking highly about you on the show all year, my friend. That's Jamie. I predicted you guys to win 6 this year. You guys have won 7. I believed in you guys all year. Talked highly about you guys all year. Please do Pittsburgh fans a favor. Beat those Ravens on the road against the best defense in the National Football League. I'll buy you a beer at Sportscenter Bar and Grill, courtesy of Dustin Gronin, probably. Please, Cleveland. And I'm picking you to win. I love no.
As much as I love Baker, the way Baltimore's playing, I got to go with the Ravens here. I think they're going to knock Pittsburgh out of the playoffs for the first time in however many years. Dave hates to hear it, but it's the truth. It's what I believe. It's what my brain tells me, not my heart. Baltimore's defense is too good at home, despite the way Cleveland's playing. I think Baker's still a rookie quarterback. He's still going to make mistakes. The hardest thing to deal with is a dominant running game and a dominant defense, and that's exactly what Baltimore has at home, battling the elements. It's going to be a tough sled. If Cleveland does it, it's going to be in wild fashion. They're going to have to make some big plays, special teams. I think Baker's going to have to extend plays, and they're more than capable of doing that. But the way Baltimore's playing, I don't think they turn the ball over, so they're not going to give Cleveland an opportunity to score on defense. Got to go with the Ravens. Again, that 4:25 time slot for the NFL this week is loaded with games that are crucial to the playoff picture.
As I like to say in football, Jamie, I'm not going for 2. I'm going for the tie for the Pick'em Trophy. I'm going to be smart. So I'm going to give you the last 3 picks because I have 1 pick that I have to pick different than you. And please don't be rude with the 1 pick. Actually, I'm going to say it right now because I think you won't be that type of guy. I'm picking the Steelers over the Bengals. Obvious reasons. So between the Eagles, Redskins, Colts, Titans, you and I are going to have a different game because I'm going to go for the Pick'em Trophy here. But to go to the next game here, Jamie, that I want you to choose after you make this pick about the Bengals and Steelers. Steelers have to win this game. They're going to play hungry. They're on home field. They have the team battling behind them. A lot of people are going to be wearing Cleveland stuff. I think in the game, cheering on Cleveland, having their eye on that phone for Cleveland. So I really think Pittsburgh, though, gets the win to end the season on a high note. But will it be enough is the question. But Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going Pittsburgh as well. I just there's too much for them to play for at home. Division game at the end of the year. Despite that, I think Cincy could somehow play spoiler here. I just think Pittsburgh's too strong. I just think Cincy's
too pissed off.
They're pissed off, right? There's a lot to be said for the attitude thing, but I just think Cincy's defense has just been a disaster this year. The only time they've got up in games is when they've been able to run the ball and get up, and then all they can do is rush the passer. They can't do anything else. They can't defend the pass very well. So if they were to get home, they're good. But when you force their defense to be multidimensional, they fall apart. And I think Pittsburgh is going to be able to do that. As long as Ridley doesn't get any touches, I think Pittsburgh fans, you can feel fairly safe about this win.
The next 2 games, I'm leaving up to you, Jamie. You could choose the order of how you want to choose them going around here. Eagles, Skins, Colts, Titans. But you get to pick first and choose the game that you want to pick. And then I'll go after you because I'm 1 pick away from having to go for the tie here.
Well, I'm going to go with the Indy-Tennessee game. I'm going to go with Indy on the road. I think they're hot. I'm guessing that was the pick he was going for. Yeah. But no matter what you would have picked there, Dave, I was always going to pick the Indy. Yeah, me too. I think Tennessee's got a shot, though. I think that's kind of a toss-up game. But I got to go with the Colts. I think Andrew Luck's too hot. I think that young defense is flying all over the place. Tennessee has a really good run game, but Indy's front 7 is underratedly good. And I think they're going to be able to figure it out. That's got flex to the night game, and that's going to be an exciting one to watch. Got to go with the Colts on that one.
Going with Tennessee. I'm going to go with Tennessee. That's the pick. I'm going to make that different. Not because of the Pick'em Trophy. People think that's the reason why. I was close looking this down. Colts are the hottest team in football, one of, between the next to Philadelphia Eagles. I just think Tennessee, you have Henry who's running the football great right now. They're on home field advantage. Davis seems to step up in big situations. I really think Tennessee has a chance to beat them. I really do. And I'm sorry, Justin. I give love to the Colts, and I'm hoping that they get in and Tennessee doesn't and Pittsburgh does get in. Hopefully we're all happy here on the Game Sports Show and to Indianapolis Colts fans. But I think that home field, I like the way that they're running the football, Tennessee, and I think they're going to do it on home field. I really think it's going to be Tennessee. There's my little surprise altered pick. Jamie, finish us off.
We got Philly, Washington. That's the final game on the sled here. So I got to go with Philly. They're just too hot. I don't think you can't pick Washington in this game. It's not going to happen. They're on quarterback number 7 for the year, whatever they're playing with. I think they're one-dimensional. All Philly has to do is load up for the run. They have a great front 7. They can take Adrian Peterson away. They're going to dominate this game. It's not even going to be close. Nick Foles is rolling again. He's his former self, reinvigorated. Carson Wentz is going to get traded. Carson Wentz is going to sit on the sideline again for a playoff run here.
Can you trade Carson Wentz? Can we get to that talk?
You get a lot for him.
Yeah, it might be an option if you're Philly fans might shoot me for saying that, but I don't know. It's not impossible to do. Maybe you redraft. I don't know. Maybe you move Carson Wentz to a team that needs a quarterback and you get a higher pick in the draft, top 3 pick, and you draft a quarterback. I don't know if that's what you want to do, but you got to go with Philadelphia to win this football game. I would have been foolish. I've already been foolish with a couple of my picks, going with my my gut over my head in a few of them. So having Philadelphia just makes sense. I don't think the Redskins stand a frickin' chance in this football game. Jamie, you and I had 7 different picks. I'm 7 picks behind you. 4 of my 7 picks were, let's just say, in left field because of rest reasons and thinking that they're going to get the win, and also because I want to tie you in the Pick'em Trophy. This week, Jamie, what is your game of the week? I'm going to go first and say that my game of the week, I think I'm stealing your thunder with this, but Tennessee and Indianapolis, I really think that is obviously the game of the week. So that determines not only just playoffs, it's 2 good football teams going head-to-head. It's Andrew Luck's resurgence and just definitely all-around exciting football that is going to be. But, Jamie, I'll let that go to you to what you think the game of the week is.
Yeah, I think that's obviously the game of the week. I mean, it's a win and end game. You win, you're in the playoffs. You lose, you're done. It's basically adding another game to the playoffs. It's like that first game of that 64 versus 65 game that the March Madness has. They always have the one game before the tournament starts to make it in. But otherwise, I'm going to go with Cleveland-Baltimore. I think, despite the fact that I picked Baltimore, I think that's going to be an exciting one to watch.
Please, Cleveland.
Hey, man, I hope Cleveland wins. That'd be exciting. I think it'd be awesome. And Pittsburgh can get in. I love Baker. I think that'd be an awesome momentum boost for them going into the offseason to finish above 500 for the first time since 2005. I think when Derek Anderson was their QB that year, wild. So I'm excited to watch that game, but obviously the Sunday nighter is the marquee matchup.
Good stuff, Jamie. That has been an NFL edition of In the Pocket. So we're going to transition into basketball and the World Juniors quick. Then you're going to conclude with NCAA. Those are the 3 topics we want to touch. I'm going to lead up to you. Jamie, I'm going to give you my Christmas gift to you on part of the format of the show. Do you want to jump into NCAA talk right now quick, going into the weekend, the big national championship weekend? Or do you want to talk anything other than NCAA football, or do you want to come back to that?
Yeah, we can get into some NCAA right now. I mean, we're still in the midst of bowl season. We had a couple of bowls happen since we last convened. But as I pull up the list here, we're going to go through a few of them. I mean, we got to see a pretty dominant Marshall team really take it to South Florida, in which a game that I thought was going to be a lot closer, with Marshall winning 38-20. I mean, FIU and Toledo might be one of the bowl games of the season so far, with FIU squeaking one out 35-32 in the Bahamas Bowl. That was last Friday, December 21st. That was a great game. BYU just completely obliterated Western Michigan. Wasn't much fun to watch. Wake Forest and Memphis, another fantastic game. I mean, Memphis had 3 chances to kick a field goal at the end. Wake Forest called a timeout, and then Memphis went offside. He makes the field goal from 37 yards the first 2 times, gets backed up to 42, misses wide right. Unbelievable, and that would have been to send it to overtime. That was a real exciting game. Army just ran over Houston 70-14. It's only the 3rd time 70 points have ever been put up in a bowl game. Unbelievable. What a dominant performance. Troy and Buffalo went back and forth, had a really exciting game, 42-32. And Louisiana Tech and Hawaii, they in the Hawaii Bowl, home field advantage for Hawaii, but Louisiana Tech got the win on the road. And then we had a couple games yesterday in on Boxing Day. I mean, Minnesota and Georgia Tech. Minnesota really dismantled them 34-10. And then TCU beating Cal with a 10-7 win in overtime in the Cheez-It Bowl. Like, kind of boring game, to be honest, to watch. It was real slow, a lot of really good defense. And then, unfortunately, Boston College and Boise State got canceled. They got rained out, could not wait it out. So remains to be seen whether or not how that's going to be rescheduled, but I don't think so. I think they're just going with a cancellation, and we're just moving on from there. But like we said, I mean, we're coming into the most exciting weekend, arguably. I mean, this Friday we got a lot of ranked teams. I mean, West Virginia's playing, Washington State, always exciting. Mike Leach is a favorite of mine. And then you got the Peach Bowl, Florida and Michigan, followed by the two semifinal games that day. Cotton Bowl, which is Notre Dame and Clemson, Oklahoma, Alabama. We already got Dave and I's picks, but we're in the thick of bowl season. I love it. Once we kind of get past New Year's, then it's just waiting for that national championship. So we're into that final weekend. It's exciting. There's still, I think, 12 or 13 games to be played, if not a few more, actually, there might be. But I love college football. It's always exciting. If you're not doing anything, even if you're not a big football fan, watch the games. It's always fun. College football is just an extra atmosphere. There's a lot more offense.
Oh, yeah.
The way the timing rules work, it allows for more plays to be done. Exciting. I mean, these are the future NFL stars, a lot of these guys. So even some of the small schools, like you look at guys like Antonio Brown, he was out of Western Michigan, or Central Michigan, sorry. That's a small school that you would not see him a lot in big market games. Didn't go to a Notre Dame, didn't go to an Alabama. Came from a small school, and look, he's the number one receiver in the NFL. So lots of times players will come out of small schools, and this is their showcase. They get national television, bowl games, you get to watch them play. Sometimes guys can surprise, go explode for huge games, and I'm always excited to watch it. So I know as soon as we're done recording here at Sportscenter, I'm going to head home and finish watching the rest of the Independence Bowl between Temple and Duke, which Temple's up 13-7 currently. So I'm excited to go watch the rest of that game.
Thanks for that recap with the NCAA. Jamie, that's going to conclude our In the Pocket segment and round that all up with In the Pocket, where we talk National Football League Week 16 and going into Week 17 along with NCAA with the bowls going on, and also obviously the big championship game coming up that Jamie and I've already picked between, we think it's going to be Notre Dame and Bama getting to the finals, but we'll talk more about that next week here on the Game Sports Show from SportsCenter, January the 3rd. Jamie, two more topics I want to jump into. We only have about 5 minutes left here or so before we have to wrap up tonight's show. Raptors 106-104 went over Miami yesterday. The Raptors improved to 26-10. This Raptor team, Jamie, I watch it each night when Kawhi plays. The guy's putting up massive numbers every night. It seems like 30 points again last night, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. Siakam had 10 points last night, but just a good presence on the court with 9 rebounds. Danny Green, 18 points. Van Fleet had 16 points. You know, you had they exchanged jerseys with Dwayne Wade, obviously with Wright there and Jelon Wright, and also Dwayne Wade exchanging jerseys. It was an exciting basketball game. Sorry, very good basketball game to watch. It went right down to the wire. Final 3 there. It just clutch are the Toronto Raptors. This team's very good to watch. Serge Ibaka finally got back in the lineup. You know, he's easing into playing those full games. He had 30 minutes yesterday, 6 points. He's a presence out there when he's there. And he's also a big leader. But you're still missing Kyle Lowry. And when they have a full basketball team, I think they would have won this game by a bit more. I think Kyle has that presence. But Kawhi Leonard, this is beautiful to watch. Beautiful to watch. Just exciting. And the Toronto Raptors right now are a team that's first in the Eastern Conference, and I don't think they're going to look back for the rest of the year. They got the Orlando Magic tomorrow at 7 p.m. in Orlando. Then they got the Bulls on Sunday in Toronto on the 30th at 6. Now Chicago is a very lonely team right now. So the Raptors can get some good wins under the belt and just continue to grow in that conference, and also continue into the 2019 calendar year on a high note, hopefully with only having 10 losses, as I think they can win the next 2 in a row. Transitioning now from basketball, so we'll only talk about a little bit there. World Juniors. I said I would talk about them.
Or Denmark.
Denmark. What the I'm sorry. You guys got absolutely spanked last night. 14-0. A spitting chicklets put in their quote in their post today. Canada doing Canada things. Yep. Yeah. I predicted a 6-1 win in this game. Because Denmark, I know they didn't have a great team on paper, but I didn't think they were a team that was a 14-0 bad. And Canada came out absolutely fucking fiery, and this team was just full of piss and vinegar, especially Morgan Frost. No, he had a hat trick, a couple assists. Cometo had 4 goals. There was Evan Bouchard had 3 assists. And DiPietro had a shutout. Ian Scott's going to get the start today against the Swiss. I think this is going to be a tougher matchup against the Swiss than it is for Denmark, but that Canadian team is looking quite solid. But Morgan Frost getting a lot of minutes yesterday, playing with a lot of confidence. He was taking the body yesterday. Where's this when he plays for the Hounds? No offense to Morgan Frost. They're he outplayed Barrett Hayton yesterday. He outplayed almost everyone on Canada. Morgan Frost was the guy who stood out for me yesterday because he was actually going extremely hard, and he was honestly just going insane. Insane. Absolutely insane. Were the Canadian forwards, but Morgan Frost. Do you have any opinion to add about Morgan Frost and the Canadian World Junior team starting the tournament 1-0 against Denmark, where they won 14-0?
Yeah, I mean, this was an expected win. It's a nice, easy one for Canada to start. I was just surprised that Denmark kept their goalie in until he hit 11 goals, and then he finally smoked his arm on the post, and they pulled him. And then I realized why they left him in for 11 goals, because I basically would have been a better backup, having 0 goalie experience in my entire life, than the Danish backup they threw in. Just basically stood like a deer in headlights, had a couple just blow right by him. I mean, and we have elite shooters for Canada, don't get me wrong, but I mean, you get a wide open shot, you got to at least move a little bit, right? You got to think. And it's tough. Coming in cold in the middle of the third period is never easy, but it was bad. And you hope the Danes can bounce back. Unfortunately, Denmark's one of those teams. They get relegated, and then they'll win the B tournament and get relegated back up. So it's just the way it is. They're up and down. They get their national games every second year, it feels like. So hopefully they can scrounge it out, and hopefully they're not too defeated after that. I mean, it's not any easier. I mean, they got the rest of our division is. You're looking at Russia, the Swiss, and then Denmark and us. Yeah, so it's the Czechs. Sorry, that's the other team in our division this year. So, unfortunately, they're going to go 0-4. It's just the way it is. They're not going to win a game, but hopefully they can score some goals, get some positive momentum. Hopefully their goalie can have a good game here and there, and because that's all you really want for that team coming in. But I'm curious to see how Canada goes up against these other teams, but I think I like our chances. I mean, the way Morgan Frost played, like you said, I mean, it'd be nice if he was grinding it out as much, but I think that's part of the Team Canada mentality. You're with the best players in Canada, best players in your country. You're fighting against these guys to climb the draft order, a lot of things, so it brings out the best in you competition-wise. I mean, we saw it last year with a couple of Greyhounds that were there, in Boris Kachuk and a few of those other guys, defensemen can't pop in my brain for right now. Connor Timmins, sorry, who had a fantastic World Junior last year, and that he was unbelievable. So happy to see. Hopefully Hayton can get things going a little bit, but I mean, when it's a 14-0 win, it's kind of hard to. There's offense everywhere. Everybody's got 6 points minimum. So
how about his mom yesterday, Morgan Frost?
I'd miss that. You're gonna have to go in about Morgan Frost's mom here.
His mom went down the stairs and threw the hat on the ice. Oh yeah. Then she walked all the way down because you don't really do that international. But then they let her. They let it. Vancouver. But that's why in Canada it's like, okay, why aren't their hats on the ice? And international play, they don't do that as much. They do it, but it's not. It's more of a tradition here in Canada. Morgan Frost's mom was loving life last night. But if I'm the Hounds, I'm going to be calling Morgan Frost saying,
where's this bet?
Excuse me. Like, are you trying to get traded or something? Philadelphia is even calling saying,
what happened?
Yeah, where was this? That's why you didn't make our team. No offense, Morgan Frost, and hopefully you come on the show in the new year. I'll have to talk to you about that physicality that you're presenting against Denmark. I'd like to see it for the rest of the tournament. Canada's in action today against the Swiss. Ian Scott, Toronto Maple Leaf prospect, gets in goal. I'd like to see him play. Great year he's having this year as Ian in Major Junior. So, Jamie, that wraps us up for our holiday edition of the Game Sports Show here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. We talked in the pocket. We talked basketball. We talked World Juniors. Talked about a lot. Big week in the National Football League. Do you have any final thoughts before we sign off?
Yeah, I mean, it's World Junior season. We're week 17, bowl season. This is a great time to be a sports fan.
Yeah,
I mean, it helps that it's Christmas holidays. I got some time off. It's perfect. I got lots of time to hang out, spend time with family.
Drink beer.
Drink some Molson products. I got one I got to finish here before we head on out of here. But and you got a big wedding this weekend. It's a wild time. I'm happy to be part of the show. I mean, happy holidays to everybody out there. Hopefully you get a good holiday, and you have a happy New Year coming up. But I'm excited, man. And next week I think it's going to be a good one. We get to talk about NFL playoff preview. World Juniors will be wrapping up almost by that point. We'll be seeing where Canada lies going into the playoff rounds. And we're going to know who is in the College Football National Championship. So we got lots to talk about next week. Exciting show.
As Jamie said, next week will be 2019. It'll be our next show for the Game Sports Show. We do not have a show at the Wicked Sister until January the 14th. So next week it'll be just Sports Center on January the 3rd at 9 p.m. And then also Thursday that'll be January the 4th. We will be at... Oh, no, sorry. January the 2nd is Wednesday. Sorry, I'm getting poked here. January the 2nd will be at Sportscenter Bar and Grill 9 p.m. January the 3rd will be at Northern Superior at 7:15, and then Icebreakers on January the 6th, which will get and kick off our 2019 calendar year of the Game Sports Show. Now, I want to say thanks to Scott Neese, our board operator here tonight. I want to say thanks to the beautiful Krista.
Easy.
Frank Ligori and Sportscenter Bar and Grill staff, and to the listeners for making us a part of your night here tonight. And until next week on the Game Sports Show, I want to make sure that you listeners understand that it'll be a very big week this week in sports. Next week's a big week in sports. Busy season it is for sports. That is putting it lightly. And until 2019, listeners, keep your stick on the ice. Swing your bats. Catch your touchdown. Drain your threes. And shoot your shots. Booyah.